Welcome to Blood Bowl 2 Legendary Edition. I'm playing the mixed team, the Human League, in the Eternal League. I'm currently enrolled in the NAF Autumn Championship. I played one match so far. It was against the Orcs and it was a bruising encounter. 3 of my players were injured, one of whom is unavailable for this match. I'm missing a Kislev catcher. We will get a journeyman, and that's one of the unusual things about the mixed teams. I'm not quite sure which team the journeyman is going to come from. My guess is going to be another human lineman, but I'm not sure. So we have a team of 11 for this match, including the journeyman. Unfortunately, I didn't manage to level anyone up in the first match. I do have SPP spread out. This lineman will get a level up if he manages to throw a quick pass. This Bretonian blitzer and this one as well will level up if they score touchdowns. So that is my priority for this match, try to get a few players leveled up. I would love to give one of my Amazon blitzers guard, because this team is sort of under strength. Most of the players have strength 3 and the Kislev catcher has strength 2. We are up against... another thing I did was purchase an apothecary with the match winnings from the last match. But using the apothecary is going to be a tough decision. Do you really want to waste an apothecary on a 0 SPP player? So that's going to be a tough call to make. But anyway, we are playing against a Chaos Dwarf team. Team value 950, they will get 30k in inducements. If we take a look at their team roster, they only have 10 players because they lost one player in their last match. I initially thought they lost a Bull Centaur, but if you take a look at their team, they have a whopping 4 team rerolls, which is very unusual for a Chaos Dwarf team. My suspicion is the player they lost was a Hobgoblin, but this is still a formidable lineup. They have 6 dwarf blockers, Chaos Dwarf blockers. They will form the spine of the team. Each of the blockers have only movement 4, but they have heavy armor, and they come with both block and tackle as standard. So I'm going to have to keep them away from my Amazon blitzers. The Amazon blitzers, their key advantage at the TB 1000 level or at 0 SPP level is the fact that they come with dodge, and the fact that the Chaos Dwarf blockers have tackle, which of course negates dodge, is a bit of a problem. Without dodge, the Amazonian blitzers are kind of average, so that's something to look out for. The second thing to look out for is this Bull Centaur movement 6, which can be a bit deceptive because they also come with sprint, which allows them to move 3 squares for GFIs. It will require dice rolls, but still, it goes from 6 to 3, and they also come with sure feet. So if they fail a GFI or go for it, they will get a free reroll. So this potentially, you have a strength 4 player who can move up to 9 squares. This year, he will be a handful on the plus side. He does not have any skills aside from the starting ones. So notably, he doesn't have block. So we will have to try to deal with this player. In a multiplayer environment, you would most probably want to knock him down and then foul him. But the AI doesn't foul in Blood Bowl 2, so I'm not going to foul either. So the Human League versus the Chaos Dwarf, the second match of the NAF Autumn Championship. May Nuffle be with us. Start match. So I get one journeyman. It doesn't tell me what the journeyman is. Do not have any petty cash. Do not have any money in my treasury because I spent it on the apothecary. The opposition gets one journeyman as well, and picks up a Bloodwiser Babe, which will help with KOs in case their hobgoblins suffer any injuries. Let's see what happens in this match. In my previous video, I talked about Blood Bowl 2 and also gave a book recommendation. The book was Thinking in Bets by Annie Duke. I guess you would broadly say it's about complex decision making in an uncertain environment, which is exactly what Blood Bowl is. So my hope is anyone who picks that book up will have a new way of looking at Blood Bowl and understanding why players tend to have a lot of problems with it. I talked about how Blood Bowl is a game of both decision making and luck, and how some players are extremely good in their decision making. So even if luck is a factor, some players tend to do exceptionally well. You can see this in the Champions Ladder. Well, a small group of players consistently have win rates of 70% even when they're playing 20 matches in the Champions Ladder. You wouldn't expect that if Blood Bowl was a game where luck was the major factor. Don't get me wrong, luck is a factor. I'm saying that decision making is more important, and some players are incredibly good at it, which is why they have very high win rates, not just over the course of a single season, but season after season after season. If you take a look at the Champs Ladder database, you will find players with win rates of over 70%. Well, the same names keep cropping up constantly, season after season. So what are these players doing that is giving them so many victories? Well, it's the quality of their decision making. They are simply better in their decision making. They are a little more cautious, they are a little more disciplined. So they get things right more often than wrong compared to the rest of the players. And also another thing to point out is players with very high win rates, 70% is exceptional, I would say. They are a very tiny percentage of the overall player base. For example, if you take a look at the database, players who have 70% win rates, that's only about 20 or 30 players over the course of a season. When you compare the number of players playing in the Champs Ladder for a season, it's about roughly 2,000 if you go every season. So 20 or 30 out of 2,000, that's a tiny percentage, about 1%, which is kind of interesting. So most players of Blood Bowl are kind of bad at the game. Where's my journeyman? Over here. I got a Amazon Lion Woman for my journeyman. That was unexpected. Now what do I do with her? If I put her on the line of scrimmage, her dodge is not going to come into play. So she's going to get blocked, and AV7 players have about a 17% or 1 out of 6 chance of being removed from the pitch when they get knocked down. We'll leave it like this. Confirm setup. So I think the reason most players are bad at Blood Bowl, when I say bad, means they don't have exceptional win rates. Let's put it that way. It's because there are a lot of decisions to be made every single turn. Annie Duke talked about how in a single hand of poker, well, an average hand of poker, you have about 20 decisions to make. In chess, the average turn-wise branching is about 30. For the first turn, it's maybe about 20. It can go up to 100 possible moves during a turn, but the average number of turns in chess is about 30. In Go, it's about 300. What do you think the average number of moves you can make in Blood Bowl is? someone, an academic, okay, we got a piece of luck there. An academic who's looking into creating AI for Blood Bowl looked into this and came up with this number. The average turn-wise branching for Blood Bowl is 10 to the power of 50. That is 1 followed by 50 zeros. That is how complex Blood Bowl is. You have 11 players at the start. Each of the players has a lot of squares they can move to. Even with dice rolls that goes even higher. They have a lot of actions to make. You can simply move, you can dodge, you can block, you can pick up the ball, and the total number of decisions you can make. It's about 10 to the power of 50. That is a lot, and that is the average number. So when you're making that number of decisions, there are so many ways where things can go wrong. We have a shot of getting the ball. This goblin is sort of free, but the Chaos Dwarfs do not have the ball. But nonetheless, we will have to mark him. Use the journeyman for that. Priority has got to be to try to steal the ball, I think. I'm missing my Kislev catcher, one of them, so this Kislev catcher is sort of quite a ways away. Yeah, let's do this. Berserker on the move. It's a push. Frenzy kicks in, get another shot. This time we managed to knock down the Chaos Dwarf blocker. Running out of time here. Okay, time to do your party trick. Do I want to pick up the ball here? With the reroll, it goes to 89%. Let's do this. Skip. Okay, not great, but not bad. So anyway, I think the reason most players are kind of poor with Blood Bowl is because it requires a lot of decisions every single turn. The chances of getting those decisions wrong are kind of high. But some players are exceptional at it, which is why they have very high win rates. I think the second reason why Blood Bowl is sort of a frustrating game is because it has a lot of probabilities involved, and human beings are exceptionally bad at thinking about in terms of probabilities. Okay, that's another piece of luck. The AI declines to re-roll that for some reason, even though the team has. Did they use a team re-roll just now? Can we shove this Chaos Dwarf blocker off the field here? I'm going to reroll this. It's tempting to be greedy and go with the push in order to chain push him off the field, but I'm simply going to take the defender down. This gets me a 2 dice block against this hobgoblin rather. I think that was unfortunate. So I've already used my team reroll. Circle around this side, try to prevent this bull centaur from moving freely. Okay, this one is attempting to prevent this group of players from doing as they please. One dice block against a player without block. I can get a 2 dice block by dodging away this Kislev catcher. I think that is the smarter play. This is a straightforward 83%. This should be a 2 dice block. Going to blitz and move. Hopefully this works. It doesn't. Okay, a double skull. The second of this turn. Earlier I had a double skull, which I rerolled. So that was unfortunate, which means the hobgoblin should be able to either blitz away this Kislev catcher marking the ball carrier, which is what the AI is doing. So I think one of the problems people have with the probabilities is they tend to round up or round down. So when they see 80%, they think 100%. When they see 20%, they tend to round down to 0%. So an event that is likely, that has a 80% chance of occurring, in their mind, it becomes a guaranteed event, guaranteed to occur. Similarly, an event that has a very low percentage of occurring, let's say 20%, they tend to round it down to 0%, and 20% becomes never. And it's not just a problem in gaming. You sort of see it a lot in gaming, in games where which feature a lot of dice rolls, which feature the RNG. Players simply do not have, can't seem to wrap their head around probabilities. And beyond gaming, this has repercussions as well. For example, in politics, for example, when polls say that there's only an 80% of this event occurring, and that event doesn't occur, people tend to get very upset. You said it had an 80% chance of occurring and it didn't happen. How is that possible? You were wrong. Well, they weren't wrong. 80% doesn't mean guaranteed. Similarly, 20% doesn't mean never. Already down 1 player. Ball carrier is over here and I've got very little defenses. 2 players stunned. Three rerolls remaining. If I push this Chaos Dwarf blocker off the field, I would be leaving this Norse Berserker vulnerable to the same. I've got to shift over this side now. Yeah, this looks tricky. Yeah, I'm going to have to try something risky here. Strictly speaking, not necessary. Alright, that was nice. I don't think the other team has an apothecary. The Norse Berserker is sort of vulnerable at the moment. I think the priority has got to be to do something about this. Defense here, which has been caught out by the ball carrier moving this way. Can you push this player away, please? Sort of can. Stay. I think I'm going to use the reroll for this. Yeah, I need to... not a pleasant situation to be in. This needs to work. It does. I think the Norse Berserker is sort of safe from being pushed off the field. This will have to do. A very makeshift defense. The other thing that makes a Blood Bowl kind of hard for people who have trouble dealing in probabilities is that losses tend to be a lot more memorable. People tend to feel losses a lot more acutely than wins anyway. So in Blood Bowl terms, whenever you roll a 1 or you roll double skulls, you will remember it for the entire match and even after that. However, if you roll a 6, which is an automatic success, you will immediately forget that. So people will be complaining about their bad dice constantly in Blood Bowl and ignoring all the times that they roll 6s or all the times they roll defender downs. Okay, my Bretonian blitzers are back in the game. So even if I manage to knock down this journeyman hobgoblin, this hobgoblin can dodge out and move over here. Big gap over here, and this is the obvious place to go for the ball carrier. First things first, I think. Get the Norse Berserker out of danger. I suspect he will need to go deep if the ball carrier decides to go this way. This worked. Okay, I'm going to try to push this Chaos Dwarf blocker away. Not only managed to push him, but managed to knock him down, which is fantastic. Move the journeywoman up, and now this hobgoblin does not have any skills. I can knock him down. I think we'll go with something safer. "26 seconds. This requires a GFI, probably not the smartest move. Let's see if it pays off. It does. Push you here, follow. Mark the ball carrier. Can you push this? No block versus block. 2 dice, however. Okay, it succeeded. Follow. Stand here. Okay, relatively good turn. We didn't get the ball, but we have applied pressure on the ball carrier. So that is that. So again, whenever you roll a 1 or you roll double skulls, you will remember it for the rest of the match. You'll be complaining constantly about it. If you roll a 6, you immediately forget it. The second thing why losses are more acute in Blood Bowl is because of the turnover mechanic. Whenever you fail an action, it results in a turnover. Your turn is prematurely curtailed, and your opponent gets the move. So whenever you roll a 1 or double skull and you fail, it's a turnover, and that is a memorable event, which is why you tend to remember all those 1s, you tend to remember all those double skulls, and those 1 in 9s as well. Okay. Ball carrier is free and in. Touchdown distance in the next turn. I am down 1 player. I do have players free. I do have 2 rerolls for the next 4 turns, so not too bad. This is a straightforward 1 die block. I could make it a 2 die block to tilt the odds in my favor, but that requires additional dice rolls. Do I want to do that? All I need is a push here. Can the average man do something here? Failure is 1 out of 6. I'm going to re-roll that. So chances of failure are 1 out of 36. Let's try this. Ha! Okay, that worked. So by doing this, I freed up the the Amazonian Blitzer. Now how do I go about the 1, 2, 3, 4? I think need to blitz from this direction. Push the guy this side. Already used my reroll. Does not work, but frenzy kicks in. We succeed. Thing over here or over here? Let's put it over here. Stuns the ball carrier. And the Amazon Blitzer manages to get the ball, which was fortunate. Pick up this Blitzer to mark this guys here. So it's sort of tempting to perform a 1 dice block. Chances of failure are only 1 out of 6. But I'm going to keep this player here. Already used my team reroll for the turn. Simply end the turn. So again, I've talked about how Games Workshop or a third party would do well to put together a strategy guide. It doesn't have to be very comprehensive, but I think the goal should be to take new players who don't know anything about Blood Bowl, take them to a place where they can play in the open ladder or consistently beat the AI. That is all that is necessary. It doesn't have to be all so comprehensive that it takes players from I don't know anything to I can win the Champions Cup. That's not the goal. Because I think right now you're bleeding players right, left and center in the first 20 hours of play. Players get very, or coaches rather, get very frustrated with the game because they simply do not understand. Even the language in Blood Bowl is very frustrating. So that was a 1 in 36 for the AI. If the AI was cheating, you wouldn't think that would occur. So new players tend to find a lot of scapegoats whenever they fail. RNG is broken, the AI is cheating, and that all speaks to three turns remaining, one potential receiver here. One in 9. Reroll. That was a 1 in 36. But again, when you get a positive 1 in 36, you will never ever complain. Ooh. Stunned as well. I'm not going to pick up the player. I could attempt to dodge or whatever. I do not have any team rerolls, and because this is an AV 7 player, and her dodge is negated by this Chaos Dwarf blocker's tackle, there's a potential of a failed dodge followed by a pitch removal. Instead, I'm going to simply keep things this way. 2 turns after this, I have potential receivers here and here. Not that I'm keen on trying a passing play without any team rerolls. I'm going to end the turn. So again, when you get a positive 1 in 36, which is, for example, defender downs for both dice in a 2 dice roll, you will never ever complain. You get a double skull, immediately you will start whining about your bad dice. You will see this even from players who have played for hundreds of matches. They will constantly complain about their bad dice, ignoring all those times when they got defender downs and all those times when they roll sixes. So there are a couple of weird biases involved, even with players who have played a lot. One of the biases is, of course, whenever I win the match, it's because of my skill. Whenever my opponent wins a match, it's because of luck. You see this even from players who've been playing the games for decades. It's not a Blood Bowl problem. Annie Duke talks about it in her book. Whenever you win a game of skill and luck, you attribute to your skill. Whenever you lose a game that has both skill and luck, you attribute it to bad luck. What is the best play here? Rapidly running out of time. I only have one turn after this. I do not have any team rerolls, so that is the big question mark here. Let's plan for failure first. Yeah. Very risky. You're going to have to roll the dice here. Going to try a handoff. 67%. Is there a better play here? No team rerolls. Alright, 2 out of 3. Well, it wasn't exactly 2 out of 3, was it? The Bretonian Blitzer has catch. So it was at 89%. How far can this guy move? Okay, didn't manage to perform a 1 dice block, but that's quite alright. We have the ball carrier is close to the end zone. So things are looking good. The Chaos Dwarf team is not showing any interest in the ball carrier right now. Performing a lot of safe moves first. is that we will see a spectacular dodge followed by a one dice blitz. Yes, yes. Things looking good, looking good, looking good. Ha! Okay. Alright. So what is the optimal play here? I do not have any team rerolls. I would like to make as few dice rolls as possible. Need a GFI here to make a 2 dice block. What is the chances of getting something successful here? 1 dice block against a player without block. I have block, the hobgoblin does not. All I need is a push. Failure would be an attacker down. Failure would be a 1 out of 6. 83% chance of succeeding. On the other hand, if I try to attempt to make this a 2 dice block, I would have to make an 83% dice roll here followed by a 2 dice block. So that's 2 dice rolls. If I attempt to perform a 2 dice block here, that's 1 dice roll followed by moving this player here to get a 2 dice block here. That is also 2 dice rolls. So 1 dice block for the win. Or not the win, for the lead. Blitz and move. Alright, we succeed. And knocked out the hobgoblin to boot. And we take the lead. And the ref will blow the halftime whistle now. In the next half, we get the ball and we can slowly move towards a 2-0 victory. Of course, all this is easier said than done because there are a lot of dice rolls involved and there's a lot of decision making to involve, and I could make a lot of bad decisions followed by a lot of bad dice. So again, it's a game of both skill and luck, but with by improving your decision making, you can tilt your odds in your way and improve your win rate. So the problem with attributing your losses to bad luck solely is that you do not have any incentive to improve your decision making. If your losses were all due to bad luck, 10 players versus 10. I do have 1 level up in this match so far. Tempting to surf this hobgoblin. But I think we'll punch through this side because it looks a bit thinner. use this guy as the ball carrier. I think this is good enough. So again, one of the problems in Blood Bowl is whenever you win, you attribute it to your skill. Whenever you lose, you attribute it to bad luck, and that leads to a tendency to, well, not only did the Chaos Dwarfs get perfect defense, they actually took advantage of it. Sometimes when the AI gets perfect defense, it doesn't change the defense. So in this case, it actually did. I wonder if Cyanide actually did some work. Maybe they snuck in some improvement to their AI. Anyway. I think the first order of business has got to be keep the ball carrier safe. And this has really thrown me off. But you really have to roll with the punches in Blood Bowl. You have to adapt and improvise, which is why Blood Bowl is a... I think plug this gap first. %. Maybe not the smartest move. But I really wanted to keep the ball safe first. You have a fast and strong player in the Bull Centaur, so now we'll perform the 2-die block. Only a push, unfortunate. Stay. Try to protect this flank against these two players. End the turn. So if you attribute all your losses to bad luck, you are not going to learn from your mistakes, which I think would be a more likely cause for your losses. If you are making a lot of decisions during the course of the match, it is very likely that some of them are wrong, and if you don't learn from your bad decision making, you're going to continue making bad decisions throughout the course of a Blood Bowl match, and you will continue attributing your losses to bad luck instead of your decision making. The other reason why this mindset, whenever I win, it's because of my skill. Whenever I lose, it's because of bad luck. Another reason why that mindset is bad, it turns you into a bad, it's bad sportsmanship. Because if every time you win because of skill, you're saying that your opponent is poorly skilled. Conversely, whenever you lose, it's because of luck. You're saying your opponent has won because of luck. It turns you into a bad loser, doesn't it, over the course of a campaign. So for several reasons, it is probably best to be a little more humble about your own decision making in Blood Bowl. Again, why did I perform a block with the player without block? That was poor play by me. I should have blocked with the Norse lineman. He has block. Okay, fine. Try to keep away from the bull centaur. It's sort of risky, but this should work. It does. That was nice. Giving the Chaos Dwarf blocker an opportunity to get a 2 dice block, probably not the smartest move. Okay, 1 in 9. Do I want to reroll? No. Am I going to get injured? Also no. Okay, got away with that. So another thing that I think, yeah, there are two things I like to see from the makers of Blood Bowl, whether it's Games Workshop or Cyanide and Focus Home, is strategy guide that takes players from I don't know anything about Blood Bowl to a place where they are reasonably comfortable with the game. Second thing I'd like to see is some improved AI for the game, because I think there's a huge gap from going from playing the AI to the open ladder, and I think that's where Cyanide is losing a lot of players in the digital adaptation. But when players say the AI is terrible, what they mean to say is that the AI is terrible for players who've played the game for several hundred hours and they have lost all idea they've forgotten what it's to be a player who is new to Blood Bowl, which is why whenever players sneer at the AI in Blood Bowl, new players might won't be able to relate, because new players will be clobbered by the AI. Not because the AI is fantastic, it's because Blood Bowl is such a complicated game that new players will have trouble with their decision making, they will have trouble with the dice rolls, and they will have a very poor win rate even against the AI. So when experienced players say that the AI in Blood Bowl is terrible, what they're saying is, new players, you are terrible. And new players, I think, will get very discouraged by this and give up. I think the solution to this is not to make the AI even dumber, which is, I think, what Cyanide has done. And I'll get to that in a moment. But to gently gently ramp up the difficulty. I think there should be a very easy setting for the AI. On easy setting, the AI should be a walkover, and that should be what new players should play the game on. There should be a slightly on medium difficulty, leave the AI as it is. Keep it at the current difficulty, the current AI. It's still poor, but I think it will prove a challenge for relatively new players who have got past the initial stages of the game and looking for a stiffer challenge. Let's say this takes about 10 to 20 hours of play, and then on improve the AI for a harder setting. 3 team rerolls, 5 turns after this. I'm really worried because I've got a lot of AV7 players here and I do not want to incur additional injuries. 1 player KO'd and 1 Kislev catcher is missing this game. I really do not want to have this Amazon Blitzers injured. I'm going to try to dodge her out. It's 67% because this Chaos Dwarf blocker has tackle. It's a straightforward 67%, but if it fails, what I'm going to do is going to use the team reroll. I'm doing this simply to keep her safe. I rolled a 1 there, but this time around I rolled a 5. Okay, end the turn. So at the highest difficulty, I think the AI should be a tougher opponent, and this is to transition players from the AI to the open ladder. There's another thing that experienced players tend to do, which is to say Blood Bowl is a multiplayer game and there shouldn't be any AI or shouldn't be any single player, and I think that is frankly dumb. And the easiest way to confirm that it's a dumb thing to say is to look at the Steam achievements for Blood Bowl 2. If you take a look at the Steam achievements for Blood Bowl 2, you will find that only 28% of the player base have won a multiplayer match. 28% of the player base for Blood Bowl 2 has won a multiplayer match. So the number of players who've played Blood Bowl 2 is not that high. So there's definitely a place for a single player Blood Bowl experience, and improving the AI would go some ways of improving that experience. This Bull Centaur is free and this Bull Centaur is a problem. This lineman is in danger of eventually being pushed off the field, but not immediately. First order of business, keep this ball carrier safe. Going to blitz here. Sort of an odd choice. But my reasoning here is this. Push this hobgoblin out of the way. Push this player up. I freed this player to form something of a screen. Would like to keep this Norse Berserker safe. AV7 only, so he's susceptible to injury. Let's try this. Sort of dodgy. Still a 1 dice block. But that succeeded. Oh, that's fantastic. Another 2 SPP for the Norse Berserker. If he gets the MVP for this match, he will level up. Obvious choice, Mighty Blow. 2 dice for the Amazon Blitzer. Here, this is an interesting situation. Do I go with follow? Or simply stay? I think I'm going to stay. Try to get this lineman out of danger. I'm not going to use the reroll. Don't need to use the reroll. Circle around this side just in case something improbable happens. So there are a couple of players free here. But I'm hoping this screen will pay off. And the turn. So there's definitely a place for Blood Bowl single player experience, and I think Cyanide and Focus Home Interactive should try to beef it up. I've talked about education, the strategy guide and all that. That's one way. Second way is to simply improve the single player experience, because you're losing a lot of players, I think. After they enjoy playing the game, they're starting teams, but they play a few matches, get very frustrated, and then they set it aside and go to other games. So I mean, the Champions Ladder, you also need that. You need a very high level player support, and Focus is doing that with the prize money for the Champions Ladder, with the World Cup and all that. But that is a very tiny percentage of the overall player base. The number of players playing in the Champs Ladder, for example, it's roughly about 2,000. In the Open Ladder, another 2,000. And those are the two major multiplayer communities for Blood Bowl 2. You have all sorts of private leagues as well. But I think collectively, I would be surprised if total number of players involved in the multiplayer scene for Blood Bowl 2, it's a very tiny percentage of the overall player base. Most of the players try Blood Bowl for a while, then they get very frustrated because they do not understand the game and they set it aside. So that is a shame. If you want to build a community, you really need to bring players into the game and keep them playing. Do I simply score here? The Bretonian Blitzer does have Dauntless, so this is already a 2 dice block if he passes the Dauntless roll. The Dauntless roll is 83%. Or do I want to play really safe and... I think let's try this. Dauntless succeeds. Just knock him down. Push him away from the ball carrier. Follow. From the look of things, the AI is sort of given up any hope of regaining the ball and seems to have resigned itself to a loss. But things aren't that straightforward because this is a campaign, and in a long campaign I want my players alive for subsequent matches. So my priority now I'm getting a lot of good rolls here. Of course, you have to look at the dice rolls at the end of the match to determine whether you've been fortunate or not. You'll often find players accusing you of being a lucker. A lucker it's a word comprised of two parts. The first part is lucky. The second part, I think you will be able to guess. So again, that goes to the mindset of every time I win, it's because of my skill. Every time I lose, it's because my opponent is lucky. Can we dodge out? No. Reroll it. No. Is she going to get injured? No. Well, it's not too bad. So 1 reroll remaining, 3 turns remaining. I have the lead, I have the ball, and it's going to be very difficult for the AI to regain either the ball or the lead. Well, they can't regain the lead if they were never in the lead. But you know what I'm saying. So I think that should be the... well, I hope that's what Cyanide do. I hope Cyanide put some effort into the single player experience, put some effort into the AI. The AI doesn't have to be good enough to play defeat someone at the champions ladder level. It simply has to be good enough to ramp up the difficulty and slowly ease player into multiplayer. I think experienced players can do their part by being a little more sympathetic to new players. You've got to understand that it's a very frustrating game. Another pair of double skulls. Again, you will always remember the double skulls. You will completely forget all those defender downs. I think that was the mistake. I've already used my last team reroll, and it's possible I might have to dodge out to score. So that was not good play. Eh? What the hell? Wrong player. Why did I do that? I wanted to pick the Amazon Blitzer. So that is an example of horrific play for no reason whatsoever. Okay, I'm going to have to blitz here. What a genius move there. Unforced error. Wanted to blitz with the... okay. Not out of the woods here. What a dumb piece of play here. And once again managed to succeed. Had no real... should not have deserved that. Deserved to be punished for that awful play. I wanted to move the Amazon Blitzer. Instead, I moved the Bretonian Blitzer, who happens to be the ball carrier. Now I've put the ball carrier in a position where he can get blitzed by the Bull Centaur. Bull Centaur does not have block. Let's see what happens. No, the AI declines to blitz with the Bull Centaur. Instead, blitzes with the Hobgoblin, who gets a 1 dice block and succeeds in knocking down the ball carrier. And the ball carrier is stunned to boot, so chances of leveling up that Bretonian Blitzer are slim. So a momentary mistake has turned a what seemed to be a very comfortable victory into a problem. Is there a danger could be a draw? Absolutely. But it will require some impressive play by the AI. This Hobgoblin is in a position where he could score in 2 turns. So if the AI manages to retrieve the ball, they could feasibly salvage a draw here. So what I would like to do now is to pick up the ball. Picking up the ball with an AV agility 3 player is a 67%. I do not have any rerolls. Going to cancel this assist. This Bretonian Blitzer has already picked up the ball, already leveled up, so don't really want to level up this player. This guy is going to recover. Movement 7, 4, 5, 6, 7. Can the Norse Berserker, more accustomed to punching people than picking up the ball, manage to do something here? He rolls a 1. Okay. still have a chance to score, but it is relatively slim. I think it's straightforward. Well, it's not straightforward. This hobgoblin is going to get picked up, so I will have to knock him down again. Let's see what happens. Lineman, I forgot to dodge him out. So another piece of poor play. Well, it wasn't a piece of poor play because I had to pick up the ball with a Norse Berserker first. So I think the main reason experienced players tend to be very contemptuous of new players. They tend to sneer at the AI, which is indirectly saying that new players who lose to the AI are morons, which is not the case. The main problem here is the game is very complex. It takes a long time to wrap your head around it. So experienced players would do well to be a little more supportive, a little more sympathetic. At the same time, new players who get into Blood Bowl should understand that whenever they complain about the AI cheating or the RNG being broken, they are talking about something they have no idea about. If the AI is cheating, why is it constantly losing against experienced players? If the RNG is broken, why is it players are consistently winning at the champs ladder level? So there are counter arguments to be made. I think the other reason experienced players tend to they lose touch with reality when they surround themselves with other players who are extremely experienced. Whenever you surround yourself with players who have played the game for hundreds or even thousands of hours, you have a very distorted idea of what the game plays like. You stop being sympathetic to new players because you are burdened by the curse of knowledge. You know how to play the game, you know the ins and outs, and you assume everyone else does. I assure you that is not the case. What is the optimum play here? How do I score with minimal number of risky plays? Not going to bother here, not going to bother here. This is not too interesting as well. To maximize the chance of picking up the ball, I need to get rid of this hobgoblin. Best way of doing that? Okay, let's try this. Now I have two options. One is to pick up the ball with the Norse Berserker. He's on 4 SPP. If he picks up and scores, he will level up and will receive Mighty Blow. To do that, it's a straightforward 67% chance. 2 out of 3. Second is to try to level up this Bretonian Blitzer. He's on 3 SPP. But to level him up, I have to first pick up the ball and then make a GFI. That's 2 dice rolls. 67% followed by an 83%. 2 out of 3 times 5 out of 6. Okay, that succeeded. Spent so much time mulling it over, almost ran out of time. Fortunately, it succeeded. So, the mixed team, the Human League, has its second successful victory. No missing next games, and my Kislev catcher who was out for this game will return. So it's turn 16. I do not have a turn after this. I might have one, if depending on what the kickoff event is, but otherwise I'm going to simply put everyone back. Do not want anybody injured and missing from the next match. In a multiplayer environment, one of these players would be fouled. There's not in the open ladder or champions ladder, there's nothing to be gained from doing that. But I think players tend to foul on turn 16 to simply to vent their frustrations whenever they lose. In private league, maybe you would foul for tactical or strategic reasons. You would foul a player simply to deprive your opponent from getting that player for subsequent matches, because chances are you will face the same opponent again in future matches. But in the open ladder or champs ladder, it's pretty much tactically not very sound, is it? There's nothing to lose. Even if you get a player ejected from getting caught by the foul on turn 16, there's nothing to lose from that. Let's see what happens. Confirm setup. Hit the X for no reason. What is the kickoff event? Quick snap. Doesn't really matter. So if there's one overall message for this video, is that I hope the makers of Blood Bowl put some thought into the single player experience. So despite what players claim, there's definitely a place for a single player experience for Blood Bowl, because right now a very tiny percentage of players are playing multiplayer, and you need to bring new players in to keep the multiplayer scene vibrant. You do not want a situation where the multiplayer scene is comprised of players who've been playing for 30 or 40 years. Oh, I mean not 40 years. Blood Bowl is a 3-decade-old game, but I think you know what I mean. You need an infusion of new blood into the multiplayer scene, and for that to happen, you need to ease players into the multiplayer scene. What are the winnings like? Only a 2. I'm going to reroll. Again, I roll a 2. Okay, fine. So no, I can actually pick up a Bretonian peasant. Can't afford to buy her. So once again, a lineman got the MVP award. Nothing really extraordinary about the dice rolls, I think. We made only one GFI and succeeded. Dauntless was 100%. Nothing too alarming about the dice rolls. It did get 16 skulls, because we roll a lot of skulls, a lot of double skulls. 1, 2. Looks like but I sworn it was 3. Anyway, again, new players tend to focus on the double skulls, and they tend to neglect all those times they manage to roll defender downs. So if you are experienced, try not to fall into that trap. Let's close. Level up the players. Bretonian Blitzer and the Norse Berserker. Let's level up the Bretonian Blitzer first. I think before I roll, I think what is likely is the most likely skill I'm going to give him is dodge. Let's see what happens. Well, do I want another agility 4 player? Yes, please. So I can either use him as the ball carrier, or I can use him to pick up the ball. I can also use him to pass the ball if necessary. And he will get a straightforward 83% without a team reroll to dodge into a free square. So this is nice. What about the Norse Berserker? Most likely it's going to be a mighty blow for him. Let's see what happens. What is going on here? I think movement allowance not really that important. Armor value sort of nice because he only has AV7 and he is going to be in the thick of things because of frenzy. But then agility would not only allow him to dodge out of trouble, it will also help him avoid being knocked down. Yeah, passing, there's no point for any of this. Yeah, I think I'm going to give him a dodge here. He's a prime candidate for an opponent's blitz. So I think dodge would help twofold. Help him to dodge out of trouble, maybe dodge out to perform a vital blitz, as well as turn an attacker stumbles into a push. So that's it for you, dodge. Who are we playing next? I can actually buy a player. The Bretonian lineman is only 40k. I think I'll hold off. Maybe another Norse Berserker would be nice. What are we playing next? Another Orc team. This one is 1040. They will get 100k in inducements. So by leveling up 2 players and purchasing the Apothecary of the team value has shot up to 1140. The Orc team is going to get 100k in inducements, most probably going to pick. I'm not sure what the AI will pick. AI is sort of eccentric in its choices. Oh man. This is going to be a tough match, I think. The Orc team has a lot of block, including one for the Black Orc here. What is their win like? 1 win, 1 loss. So that is in the next match. For now, I will see you next time.